Hello. I would like to tell you a story today. This story is about my law enforcement career. Back in 1967, a new TV show, Dragnet, used this opening. The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. Well, my stories are also true, and I do not name any names. Since this involves some police stories, I need to get changed. There. Now I look more like what you would expect from a police officer. I actually do this just for a joke. I never would do this in real life. I always took my dark glasses off before I started talking. Let's start while I was in high school during the early 60s. One of my hobbies was photography. I talked my parents into giving me a large closet. I built cupboards and counters and installed a sink. Then I painted everything black. My dad even got me some black epoxy paint for the countertops. I purchased an enlarger and started getting all the other equipment I needed to develop my own film. It was all black and white film then. Color was still a few years off for home darkroom work. During this time, and part of the reason I wanted to build my own darkroom was because I had joined a high school yearbook group as a photographer and darkroom worker. I learned how to take pictures and develop them by working at school and from books and magazines mostly, and a lot of trial and error. After I graduated from high school in 1966, I attended a university. During that time, I worked in the university's photo studio and took a physics class about light and photography. It had great labs. In the university photo studio, I also learned a little bit about how to process color film, but the equipment was very expensive and not really available for home darkrooms then. I completed about 61 hours of coursework at the university before I received my mission call. It came before my current semester would end, so I dropped out and left. I didn't think about officially withdrawing from school. But a funny thing happened. I had been attending 2 gym classes, a track and a weight training class. They gave periodic tests to determine your improvement. I took those tests as required until I left. Apparently, my improvement was enough. They didn't care that I didn't show up for the last few weeks of the semester. 2 years later, I came home and registered at the same university again. I then discovered I had earned 4.0 grades in both gym classes. All the other classes listed me as incomplete, and I had to do them over to get my degree, which I did. Now, back to police work. While working for the city as a patrol officer, I learned they only had one officer who could do darkroom work. He happened to be my corporal. They were using black and white film then. I was appointed as the second department photographer. After working there for about 2 years, the police department moved into a new building, and I got to help design and set up a new darkroom. It was fun. I was promoted from patrolman to evidence technician and given a lot of training. I learned how to find latent fingerprints, lift and classify them. I was trained in blood spatter analysis, bite marks, pattern wounds, forensic pathology, forensic anthropology, interviewing techniques, and much more. I accompanied the detectives on many of their crime scene investigations. I enjoyed the challenges. From the evidence technician position, I moved into a full-time accident investigation position. 3 of us were chosen to receive further accident investigation training at the Northwestern University Traffic Institute in Evanston, Illinois. This was a picture of our graduating class. It was excellent training for us. We learned how to tell skid marks from scuff marks, tell if a bulb was lit at the time of the accident, how to determine vehicle speeds, even from injuries. and much more. I brought home a book on accident investigation techniques authored by J. Stannard Baker. Of course, I realize that computers and other technological advancements have far outstripped what I was taught then. For instance, to get a detailed diagram of an accident scene, I had to measure every piece of evidence using a grid system and anchor it to a starting point that would be permanent for some future years. Now I'm told that a photograph from a helicopter or a drone can take the picture, which includes the grid. I would have loved to have that capability back then. It would have saved a lot of time and no doubt been able to eliminate a lot of human error. But there was a downside to my evidence technician and accident investigation work, despite my enjoyment of doing it. I saw fatal accidents, suicides, injuries from trains, and people in a burned airplane. I've had to pick up human parts and bag it so it can go with the body. I've held the hand of a man while he died. I've had to tell parents their loved ones were dead. I've seen a suicide victim holding his own brain, and I've seen dead children about the same age as my own children. I saw so many dead and mutilated people and gory things that I developed a psychological shell around my emotions to protect me. I didn't know this at the time. I think the human mind, at least my mind, had to do something to protect itself, and that is apparently what I did. Dead people became dead things that I just worked with. I didn't feel anything about it. If you know a callous cop, maybe this is why. Once I had that shield in place, I never got so sick at the crime scene or accident that I had to leave or throw up. Unfortunately, you can't take that shield down for your loved ones, and you become more distant and less caring about them. I believe it is one reason cops have a high divorce rate. But I was blessed. I married a wonderful woman who has never given up on me. Now I can look back and see that retirement and church work has removed much of that shell, and I have a new heart, as it says in the scriptures. And that's enough for this story. Thank you for your time.